But the thing that impressed me most yesterday about the Eagles starting quarterback was his accuracy. That's the biggest complaint that we hear about Jalen Hurts is, yeah, he can make nice plays. Yeah, he can create things out of the pocket, but he misses open receivers. He's got guys that he can get the ball to, and he just doesn't put it on them, and not going to be good enough because he doesn't have his accuracy. He's pretty damn accurate yesterday, completed 70% of his passes, some of them outrageously good throws, one of which fell as an incomplete. And remember, you got to factor these type things in. The best throw that he had all day was to Quez Watkins, who had gotten behind the defense, and he put it on his hands. It wasn't even a play that he had to extend all that much, and he just flat out dropped it. But that was a phenomenal throw, which goes down as an incomplete. I think he was more accurate with his passes yesterday than he has been all year. Literally and figuratively. You have Birds 365 here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Not a Mac affair. Our buddy John McMullen is taking the transit back from the Mile High City, hopefully with a smile on his face, because most of the rest of the Delaware Valley has just that after an Eagles victory over the Denver Broncos. Jeff Kerr in McMullen's stead today as my co-host. Jeff, I was writing some notes before the show started, and the word that jumped out of me was impressive. The Eagles have 4 wins now. They get with the victory to 4-6. But for me, this was easily the most impressive win of the year. How about for you?
Yeah, I think so too, Jody. And the one thing I wanted to see out of this game was how the quarterback would play against a good pass defense and one of the better run defenses in the NFL. And he torched them in the first half. I mean, they didn't even need to throw the ball in the second half because of how well Jalen Hurts played and the lead that they built. And, Jalen Hurts, the first half stats speak for themselves. 15 of 20, 176 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And there were 2 drop passes in that first half. And I said to myself, I'm writing my halftime analysis for CBS. I'm like, this game's over. They're going to win this game. I didn't see the defense blowing it. I didn't think Teddy Bridgewater was going to make that much of a difference. They're getting gashed against the run, but if the Eagles keep building this lead, it wasn't going to matter. Well, then they had the forced fumble on 4th and 1, and Darius Slay took it back, and I'm like, well, the Eagles are going to be 4-6.
That was the big play of the game. I'll give the block punt its proper due. Nice play by Kayvon Wallace, just blowing in there and getting his hands on it. Field goal attempt, was huge as well, but the Slay play ends up being the biggest play of the game, which, oh, by the way, and I was on CBS Sports Radio at the time, that was one of the lamest attempts at a tackle I've ever seen in my life. Teddy Bridgewater just basically running near him, not even making an attempt to put an arm out and see if he could get his eye on him. I know he's not the first starting quarterback in the National Football League to pass on trying to make a tackle, but every single time that happens, it just bugs the snot out of me because these are football players, and they're supposed to be able to play football, which includes tackling Teddy Bridgewater. I don't want to demean what Darius Slay did, but it was almost humorous, his attempt at a tackle.
Oh, it was hilarious. And here's the thing, Jody. When you go into a locker room and try to explain yourself to a team, oh, by the way, you're still kind of fighting for a starting quarterback job over Drew Lock. You are not an entrenched starter. You're not Tom Brady here. You have to try to make that play. That was a business decision by Teddy Bridgewater, no doubt about it. And his lame excuse for it after the game was, I forget the exact wording of it, but he just basically said, he pulled up or something like that. I forget how he said it. I got to get the quote from Troy Rank from one of the Denver Broncos beat writers. And it was just a lame attempt and just signifies how much Teddy Bridgewater actually cares about that football team going forward. I mean, you have to make that play. I don't care. It was a 7-point game at that point.
Yeah, he's not even going to make the play. You have to make an attempt at that play. He didn't even make an attempt. And, oh, by the way, if the roles were reversed, I guarantee you Jalen Hurts is going all out to try and make a tackle because he's just that kind of a football player. Another game of him making effective runs, a 31-yard burst at a key juncture of the game, which is always going to be part of his game, which is an added advantage the Eagles have over a bunch of different teams in the National Football League. But the thing that impressed me most yesterday about the Eagles starting quarterback was his accuracy. That's the biggest complaint that we hear about Jalen Hurts is, yeah, he can make nice plays. Yeah, he can create things out of the pocket, but he misses open receivers. He's got guys that he can get the ball to, and he just doesn't put it on them, and not going to be good enough because he doesn't have his accuracy. He's pretty damn accurate yesterday, completed 70% of his passes, some of them outrageously good throws, one of which fell as an incomplete. And remember, you got to factor these type things in. The best throw that he had all day was to Quez Watkins, who had gotten behind the defense, and he put it on his hands. It wasn't even a play that he had to extend all that much, and he just flat out dropped it. But that was a phenomenal throw, which goes down as an incomplete. I think he was more accurate with his passes yesterday than he has been all year.
Yeah, I agree, Jody. And the one thing I really liked about Jalen Hurts yesterday was, did you happen to notice he was going to his left a little bit? He was feeling himself a little bit, just taking a couple steps to his left, something we haven't seen him do early in the season. He was just hitting throws on the money. And keep in mind, he didn't have Dallas Goedert most of this game. After Dallas Goedert had that catch, he was out. And so you're down to basically your third string tight end, and Jack Stoll. Tyree Jackson didn't play much. I mean, Zach Ertz is gone. So, if you're looking at the start of the season, you're thinking, oh, wow, the Eagles are going to be in major trouble here because DeVonta Smith's your only receiver. But the way they were running the ball yesterday, it didn't seem to matter. And I love what Nick Sirianni is doing with this football team right now. He is not hiding this quarterback. Not at all. He is just taking a lot off this quarterback, which is helping him in the process.
Another shocker yesterday was the fact that Jason Kelce missed a play. Jason Kelce missed a play. Jason Kelce never misses a play. He plays. Guys go down around him, to the left of him, to the right of him. The Eagles are always short on the offensive line. Well, not Jason Kelce. He plays every single play, goes down on the field. Oh, my God, what did he do to himself? This could be a significant injury. He goes to the sidelines. He's back in the next play. That's Jason Kelce. But just the fact that he had to miss time in yesterday's game was probably one of the only downsides of as good an Eagle game as we've had this year.
Only him and Joe Thuney from the Kansas City Chiefs, they got the highest percentage of snaps played in the NFL over the last, I think it's 4 years. I got to remember that stat correctly. It's either 3 or 4 years, but those two have played a lot of snaps. And, Jason, I did laugh when Greg Gumbel did say about Nate Herbig snapping. Well, it was ground ball to short. And of course, Jason Kelce comes right back into the game. I'm like, oh, okay, wasn't it major? And you know what, Jody? I was starting to think in that fourth quarter, I think the Eagles were starting to feel the altitude a little bit there. You saw Fletcher Cox go down for a bit. You saw Darius Slay go down for a bit. But they were coming right back up. And, I think the same thing was with Jason Kelce. I think they were, playing 3 hours in that altitude. I've never been to Denver, but I've heard plenty of stories from people just walking. I don't know how you play a football game there all the time if you're not used to that.
And I got to give credit here where credit is due. I've been somewhat critical of the Eagles defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, who to me has been a little bit too dug in with his heels on his overall attitude about how they play defense and the bend but don't break philosophy and don't give up the big play but potentially die the 1,000 cuts death. He was a little bit more aggressive. Not that they brought the blitz all that much, but the defensive line, which needs to be able to get there with just the front four, did just that yesterday. Derek Barnett, another guy whose case I've gotten on pretty good of late, did get a sack and was a good sack, way deep in the backfield sack, minus 14 yards type sack. Of course, he took 2 stupid penalties, which is always Derek Barnett's want, but they did get pressure with just the front four. I know it only ended up in being 1 sack, but Teddy Bridgewater was hurried. He was doing a lot of check down Charlie stuff to people underneath. I think he only completed 2 passes over 14 yards all day. Nod to Jonathan Gannon and the Eagles defensive front that got there against, we knew it. And that's one of the reasons why I picked the Eagles. Started a week, tough spot, Denver coming off that impressive win against the Cowboys. Got to go out there, playing the altitude. I was looking for a reason to try and pick the Eagles, and I was having trouble finding it. We had a buddy, Brandon Cristal, who covers the Broncos for KOA, their home radio network out there, and he said could be a little bit of a letdown game, and he told us how banged up their offensive line was. That's all right. That's enough for me to hang my hat on. That's why I'm going to take the Eagles. Eagles did take advantage of the fact that Kansas City was down a couple key starters on their offensive line.
Yeah, Jody. I knew Bobby Massey was banged up. I wasn't sure how serious the Garrett Bowles injury was, but it was serious enough where he couldn't play. I'm like, okay, they're down both their starting tackles. Dalton Risner, who's a really good left guard for them, he was a little banged up, and Denver had a lot of injuries going into this game. And then they had the COVID situation with Pat Shurmur. He couldn't call the plays. I think it was Mike Shula who called the plays for Denver yesterday, the quarterback's coach. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, yeah, I'm kind of liking the Eagles in this one. I thought Jonathan Gannon was going to be a little bit more aggressive, and he was. And I actually made the funny tweet yesterday. I'm like, boy, Jonathan Gannon's defense sure looks pretty good when Justin Herbert isn't back there slinging the ball, and Teddy Bridgewater was. And I think that's what it is. I think this defense is going to have its fair share of success against bad quarterbacks. And, they're going to see that a little bit this week with Trevor Siemian. Now, Trevor Siemian's been playing a lot better than Teddy Bridgewater has. He certainly isn't the reason the Saints have been losing football games, but they seem to be missing something there without Jameis Winston. Then it gets easier. Daniel Jones twice, Taylor Heineke twice, whoever the Jets quarterback is going to be. I'm assuming Zach Wilson's going to be back. No more of this Mike White should be the starter debate anymore. It's maybe Joe Flacco, who knows, but yeah, the path seems to be a lot easier for the Eagles going forward, and it's at least who quarterbacks are facing, and starting with Teddy Bridgewater, and I'm not going to be surprised if the defense keeps up this run of success. I mean, 13 points yesterday, Jody. 13 points.
It was a pretty solid effort across the board, including big plays like our boy, Mr. Slay, coming up huge at big times. I think we've given proper credit to both the offense and the defense and the special teams because of the block that they got on the field goal. They did fill Jonathan Gannon's overall defensive philosophy out. Bend but don't break. 5 trips into the red zone and only came away with a couple of field. That's pretty damn impressive when you get a couple turnover, blocked field goal and a turnover. Yes, that's going to add up and give you the results that you want. Hurts, certainly with the way that he played, put a couple of his Hurts haters on the back burner. And there's one other group I do want to address. And this one I feel even more strongly about than I do the Hurts haters. And that's the DeVonta doubters. When the Eagles made their move on draft day to move up and get him at number 10, Howie Roseman had played the draft moving game, I thought, to a T. Trading down, adding a first-round pick, but then jumping back up to get who I thought was the best wide receiver in the draft this past year. Yes, I know what the kid is doing in Cincinnati. Over the long term, I still have faith that DeVonta Smith will be as good, if not better. The whole, how can he play in the NFL at 163 pounds and sopping wet with a rock in his pocket? This is the guy we moved back up for. He's not going to be able to withstand the rigors of the National Football League. I thought it was just such a lame narrative that, all right, he doesn't fit the prototypic size of an NFL player. You can't have a quarterback unless he's 6'3", 220 pounds. You can't have a wide receiver unless he's 6'2", 200. Stop. Judge the player. Look at what he does on the field. The kid only won a Heisman Trophy as a wide receiver. He's going to be able to step up. Everybody gets hurt in the National Football League. It's inevitability. He hasn't been hurt at all. He was hurt in the preseason, which gave us a little bit of pause, gave those DeVonta doubters something to sink their teeth into. See what I tell you, 163 pounds, he can't play in this league. The touchdown pass that he caught yesterday against Patrick Surtain, who probably would have been a Philadelphia Eagle had not the Denver Broncos taken him where they taken him. He went up mano a mano. Surtain is bigger, more physical, stronger. Who came away with the football? DeVonta Smith. So please, feel free to, if you were a DeVonta doubter, to at least admit to yourself, if not to Jody McDonald tonight on WIP, that, yeah, this kid looks like he's going to be a player, and it looks like Howie Roseman, who we all get on his case, and Howie deserves the criticism that he gets when he does botch things. But he gets them right, too. He has made some really smart moves, and the one thing he does, maybe better than anything else, is play the draft game of moving up and down and around. His move for DeVonta Smith right now looks like borderline genius.
The Philadelphia Eagles have a number 1 wide receiver, Jody. They have a number 1 wide receiver. That's all I got to say about this. And I know this from the day they drafted him. Yesterday was everything the Eagles thought they were getting in DeVonta Smith, a guy who could win the ball, a jump ball, one-on-one against – ooh, by the way, Patrick Surtain is really good. He's been good all season long. He has basically been to the Broncos defense what DeVonta Smith has been for the Eagles offense, and DeVonta Smith beat him, and that's his college teammate he beat. That was an impressive play. And the one play caught on third down, I think it was like a 15, 16-yard game. It was like on a slant. Jalen Hurts rolled to his left a little bit, looked for him. That was a great play as well. 4 catches, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns in the first half. He was as impressive can be. In his last 2 games, he's been very good for this football team. I think you're going to see a lot more of this in the second half of the season. He's starting to come into his own. Things are starting to get a little easier for DeVonta Smith, as with the good rookies. I mean, Jamar Chase got off to a hot start, but he's kind of cooled off a little bit. Maybe teams are playing different. I don't know. DeVonta Smith, that guy studies. He works. He said he goes to the NovaCare complex at like 6:09 in the morning or something like that. He says he has to go in the same time every day, which is kind of insane. But hey, that's what the great players do. And he has a quarterback he trusts. This guy has played in big moments. He's played against SEC defensive backs. He knows how to succeed in the NFL now, and we're seeing he's a number 1 wide receiver, and they need him to be with this cast of characters that they have.
And, oh, by the way, we didn't see the All-22. We don't get to see the coaches' tapes. I guarantee you, from the mid-second quarter after DeVonta got his second touchdown grab, and the second one was much easier than the first one, wide open in the back of the end zone. Good route by him, good read by Hurts, good delivery of the football. Oh, I guarantee you that Vic Fangio's defense, all right, we're not going to let him beat us. Maybe somebody else can beat us. We'll see if Jack Stoll can beat us. We'll see if Quez Watkins can catch a long. Oh, we almost caught it, but he didn't. We'll see if Jalen Reagor. No, do I even want to bring that name up? No, probably. Let's leave Jalen Reagor out of this Victory Monday. We'll see if other guys can beat us. I guarantee you he was getting doubled and bracketed the whole game. That's why he didn't do much in the second half. And I think that's just another credit to Jalen Hurts. You can't force things. And if DeVonta's not there, you know it, I know it, Jalen knows it, every Eagle fan knows it, his preference is on any given snap, let me see if I can get the ball to DeVonta. But if the defense is going to take it away from you, then you got to have faith in your teammates. You got to go elsewhere with the football. And they did just that. And one quick nod before we get up our first guest, our buddy Paul Domwich, writing for Philly Mag these days. Will hop aboard and help us break down the Eagles and the Broncos. A tip of the hat to Nick Sirianni. Even after their win against the Lions, even after staying competitive and being a last-second loser to a field goal, which the offense had nothing to do, the defense let them march it down the field for 6 minutes and take everything but 5 seconds off the clock before kicking the go-ahead field goal. I still didn't think Nick Sirianni had brokered the perfect balance on offense. He went from being overly pass happy to, I think, overly run happy, the win against the Lions and even last week. Now, they were teams that you could absolutely run the ball against, so I wasn't critiquing or criticizing how heavy he went to the run, but I just pointed out that he hasn't struck that perfect balance yet of run and pass. He pretty much did that yesterday, Jeff. Did run the ball, ran the ball effectively. Both guys, Howard and Scott, getting their fair amount of carries. Jalen taking off and making plays when he needed. And it wasn't a 14 pass attempt type day. They allowed the quarterback to make some plays and shine himself. I think he struck the perfect chord, did Nick Sirianni, on his play calling balance yesterday.
That was his best coach game of the season, Jody. And honestly, Nick Sirianni has coached his football team well enough, at least on his side of the ball, to win their last 3 games. That's how good he's been. And yeah, was it an unhealthy run-pass ratio the last 2 weeks? Absolutely. But the way the Eagles have been running the ball, who could blame the guy? And, in the first half, he said, all right, we're going to tone it down on the run a little bit. We're still going to run. But guess what, Denver? You're going to play man coverage against my guy, Jalen Hurts. He is going to beat you. And once Denver switched and went to zone, I knew it. Nick Sirianni was going to run the football down their throats, and he absolutely did in that second half. That's why Jalen Hurts only had 3 pass attempts. He tried one play in zone coverage, one where he got a little overly aggressive, ball was tipped, picked off. More of a great play by Surtain than anything else. Right. But still, Once they went to zone coverage, Nick Sirianni said, all right, here comes the ground and pound. Here comes Boston Scott. Here comes Jordan Howard. Yeah, you want to take away the run from Jalen Hurts, that's fine. You can't stop these two. And in the first half, you're playing man coverage. Jalen Hurts recognized man the entire way, through the air, on the ground, was able to put up over 200 yards of total offense by himself in that first half. Nick Sirianni knew what he was doing with this quarterback, and he's starting to have a feel for this quarterback. And I hate to tell the Jalen Hurts haters out there, but I think Nick Sirianni is figuring out how to utilize this quarterback, how to win with this quarterback, and how to develop this quarterback, which is what you want to see with this franchise. Now, will Jalen Hurts be the quarterback next year? I don't know. I don't want to talk about that right now, but he is getting better the last 3 weeks. He's one of the best red zone passers in the NFL. Yes, go look it up. I'll even tweet the stats for you later. But Nick Sirianni is knowing how to win with this guy. He doesn't need Jalen Hurts to throw the ball 40 times a game. He really doesn't even throw 30 times a game, but he has a healthy run-pass ratio for this quarterback. It is working. The formula is working. They are scoring points. If their defense can get a couple stops in there with their second-half schedule, the Eagles could be very dangerous going forward.
I won't go so far as to say Howie Roseman took all the notes that he took on Kenny Pickett and Sam Howell and threw them away after the game. Probably just moved them down a little bit in his drawer. But for those of you who've already decided that Jalen Hurts is not the man, he's going to question that over the last half of the second half of this season, and he's going to take a shot at being the Eagles' starting quarterback going forward. All right, coming up next, our buddy Paul Donwich, doing some work these days. Philly Mag, going to hop aboard, help us break down the Broncos and the Eagles right here on Birds 365.